So with me is the Chief Minister, and in this part we're now moving on to the shape of the economy. This is your second of four pillars. Give us an overview.
That's right. Well, we've targeted, we've said that now the need effectively to double our GDP income stream from broadly a £5 billion economy to a £10 billion economy by 2032, and in doing so account for 5,000 new jobs to be created on the Isle of Man to support obviously the population growth, but to attract new additional revenues and income streams. And we will set out to do that by targeting the growth that's available to us in the existing sectors, key existing sectors of the economy, and also by developing new sectors, including the opportunities in green.
You're going to ask you again, though, these new sectors, and you're going to say, I don't know what they are yet, but you must have some.
No, I think we are. I think they're clear in the report that within the green agenda, with the sustainability agenda, there will be opportunities now for new businesses, whether that is within direct sort of infrastructure support for some of our plans around energy and energy provision, and I'll talk about those in I'm sure with you in a second or two, or whether they're actually now in a sort of new defined sort of tech related sectors such as data and data provision and things. So and we will, I think the critical thing is, how are you going to deliver this, and how are you going to drive now the performance of the island in terms of attracting new business and providing for growth in our sectors. And I think that we will be moving forward now to try and refine and streamline our agency approach within DfE. I think we'll hear more in the coming months about how the agencies will be shaped to deliver more targeted growth. And clearly, obviously, government investment in some of those sectors will be important as well.
I mean, this is based on the KPMG report, right? Which gone as those. One day we'll find out how much it's all costs. I know it's still.
Well, I'll be frank. I mean, it's cost sort of over £1 million to bring it all together. And I'll confirm. I'm sure some of it has.
It was a lot of hours.
Well, there's a lot of hours. It's been 18 months of work. There's been a lot undertaken. And look, I'll clarify all the costs, I'm sure, to people.
So do they come up with the ideas, basically? I mean, in this report, would they say, look at this sector, look at that sector, or is that left to you now to pick up their outline?
What you're looking at is the government response.
Right.
This is the government response to the analysis, the data, the commentary, the reports, the analysis, the consultations that have taken place and presented. And, we will, I hope, by now have released those reports, or will do imminently, for people to be able to get their teeth into and to understand what the content is. And behind it, there's lots of other stuff, analysis of performance of government when it comes to education, for example, when it comes to health, as two of the key critical sectors that need investment and transformation, and the importance of those sectors to a successful economy. And we need to react to a lot of this detail, but this will come out in terms of policy response, detailed improvements, and we need to drive forward. We've absolutely got to drive forward, and that's why it's calling for some more investment, perhaps targeted investment from government, and delivery of better quality of public services. And that's one of the benefits that really comes from this. Obviously increasing population, but it's about driving the revenue streams, getting that extra £200 million, creating a better quality of life for people by delivering better quality public services. And we're not going to take our eye off the ball. We've already set up a platform in our island plan to do that. This will inevitably become the major economic strategy document, and we need to merge those two documents together in the next few months.
How much of the world events has this had to be looked at separately? With all the rising prices of energy and that, was this all put together then, or is it fluid in that sense that you will take that into account? I mean, the offshore wind things and all that energy kind of things. I don't know if that comes under this section or sustainability, but do you want to deal with that then?
Well, okay. So let's just talk very quickly about the sustainability platforms that sit underneath this this sort of key pillar of sustainability that we've identified. We're already committing today, in the statements that I have made, climate change statement, we are going to have 20 megawatts of renewable energy on island. by 2026
on island.
On island.
Wind farms.
Whatever with
Solar,
whichever way that falls now, the policy commitment is 2026, and can we discuss this with the MUA? We will have 20 megawatts renewable energy on island. We will also have in place by 2030 now a new interconnector to the UK, plugged into the UK's supply, I hope renewable supply. So we will be able to exist on that new interconnector. Clearly, supporting us will still be the gas supply if it's needed, but our ambition now is by 2030 to have 100% access to renewable energy supply via the interconnector, the 20 megawatts that we will have on island. And in addition to that, we're also now committing to developing at a much greater pace and speed our offshore energy policy, which will mean I hope offshore wind farms, which will bring revenue and possibly jobs to the Isle of Man. And you know, KPMG in their report highlight the fact that we have been now slow in this respect. We haven't moved fast.
We haven't got anything. That's the whole thing, isn't it? I mean,
absolutely. I think I hold my hands up and say that the renewable energy policy, in terms of our maximising the revenues that have been available to the Isle of Man, getting our seabed utilised properly, connecting up to the United Kingdom. And I appreciate there's some complexities here. This isn't actually that straightforward. But we are, I'm afraid, behind the times. We're going to speed that up, and we will be making clearer in the coming months exactly how we're going to do that. So there's a lot in there already.
How much is it going to cost?
Well, again, I mean, I think some of these figures in here, and we're talking about £1 billion of private and public sector investment over the next 10 years into all of everything that's been encompassed here. But a lot of this can be picked up by the private sector. It doesn't have to, it's not the Isle of Man necessarily. Our facilitation, our job is to facilitate and enable people to succeed now. And of course, once we've identified the respective areas of our seabed that can be leased out, for example, for wind farms, supply the renewable energy, we will benefit from the relevant lease agreements and rental agreements, and of course the relevant taxation and royalties that we'll be getting from any production.
You've got less than 8 years to hit the decarbonisation number, haven't you? Isn't it 2030 you've got down for that one?
And that's it. That's what I was talking about earlier. That's 100%
will,
renewable supply.
It will all be there.
35% of our way towards our net zero targets in 2050.
So from zero now, there's no decarbonisation at all, is there? I mean, people got a bit of PV on their roof and solar panels, but there's nothing else there. You got, I say, less than 8 years to get this done.
Yeah, and the predominant key platform is to make sure that our energy supplies for the future are both secure and renewable. Okay. And we're going to do that, and we're going to protect the island and ensure that we are meeting climate change targets. We've got renewable energy supplies coming in, and also behind that, certainly for the initial period, we'll make sure we've got the absolute security and platform of that gas supply. That'll just make sure that we are fully up and operating.
And do you see the urgency, the helping people to do their own thing as well? Because putting the solar panels on roofs or having a little wind farm, it hasn't been exactly helpful overall. And I speak from experience that because the MUA didn't really want too much of that because they had the gas to look after. Do you think that'll be a shift as well to get more people doing their bit? Yeah,
and we need to move forward in terms of things like planning and building regulations, for example. Particularly when it comes to new builds, and we've already got our eyes in terms of removing fossil fuel energy supplies for new builds. We need to, speed up in terms of allowing people any relevant planning permissions in this area. That's certainly one way. We've also got a current, our green loan scheme in terms of allowing people the opportunity to re-insulate their houses. But we do need to speed up. We do need to shift, have a mind shift. And the important thing is to recognise, if government tries to do all this by themselves, there is almost certainly a strong chance of failure. We have got to enable. The critical thing is enabling the private sector to succeed in all of these critical areas. We're aiming for better, more vibrant towns. We're brownfield site regeneration. We've got a built environment reform program, which I announced today. All of that sits under enabling this sort of 100,000 key figure, retaining our young people, creating vibrant towns, allowing for sustainability of our economy, and it will also build into the other key pillars, the £10 billion economy, £200 million of extra government revenues, and this sustainability agenda.
Okay, let's just back on the shape of the economy. Or more people, but will you be taking 1 in 4 than working for the government? Is it about that now? Something quite crazy.
No, it's a higher figure than that. It's probably about 1 in 6, isn't it? But
it's huge. I mean, bigger governments or more.
No, I don't. Listen, I mean, let's put this sort of argument to bed. Government's size and scope and scale needs to be relevant. Small, efficient, effective government is something that we all want and aspire to. But predominantly we've still got to deliver public services, and at the moment, particularly if you look at the scale of our ambition, it will inevitably mean that we do need more teachers, that we do need more nurses, that we need more doctors, and some of the other frontline services are likely to be needed.
A low tax economy still?
I hope so. I mean, I think that I would sort of put that in the context of a relative low tax. There's lots of pressure, as you know, on taxation, and taxation indeed forms a lot of the discussion papers that people will see in the coming months. But I mean, absolutely. I mean, we still need to be low tax. That would not suit us in the future to be a high tax, high cost environment, but we need to be conscious of the fact that businesses need.
We all want those things
tax.
like the UK get, but they have they tax higher to get that. Yeah, but we appreciate we want the same here, don't we? On a lower tax.
But that's why we're saying, look, we need to be more ambitious and realistic and targeted and focused when it comes to what we consider to be the right shape for our population, say for example, which is the absolute enabler to ensuring that we get the right economic returns and that we've got the right abilities to be able to provide the right services.
You want people, no doubt you're going to say, on good wages, earning good money, those sort of people, not the people who just will be down working, I don't want to say anything, but people who aren't the high earners and achievers. Is that the part of the aim there as well?
Well, of course, you want a high wage economy. I think we need to benefit everybody from an economic strategy, and that needs to filter right through society. And clearly, we need to make sure that everybody is earning the basic levels of income that are that enable them to build and succeed in life, or to give them a quality of life that is acceptable. Now, clearly there's a lot of different definitions and understanding of that, but we are driving that forward. We are already committed to things like the living wage, and we need to do that properly, efficiently and effectively. And of course, that does mean that costs on the Isle of Man, which are already identified by KPMG as being higher, means that we've actually got to ensure that we have an environment for people to be able to live and succeed successfully. And so there's a lot of work to be done, Paul, to enable us to deliver on that.
Well, $1 billion long-term private/public investment program. That's a lot of money. You take that from reserves, or you take it as you go along, or what's going to be?
Well, I think, as I say, we will start off the economic program with a £100 million economic fund, £100 million, and we will then enable and build that as appropriate. But this is not £1 billion of government revenues, but it is a refocus. This is, as I said, enabling the private sector to invest and contribute to the future success of the Isle of Man in such a way that they can do so with confidence, that we make sure that we have the right tax breaks, the right facilitation needed for them to get on and develop and build appropriately and with confidence. But also, I think there is an opportunity now for us to discuss how we're investing our reserves, for example, because
let's do that in the next section. Let's do that in the next section, because public finances, and I know it's quite interesting. You've got to trust that. Anything else on the shape of the economy before to finish that one? I mean, there's so many things, isn't there? Basically,
I think
is it like getting things moving, and you just hope that will get momentum? Basically, I mean, you give the push on you.
I think look. As I said, our economy is relatively, as things stand, it's okay. I use the word sort of okay. Despite the COVID pandemic, and we are going through a phase of recovery. We still have some very good high performance, two sectors in particular, which are driving a lot of success on the island.
Too many eggs in one basket, people might
yes,
say.
and I think that's also highlighted within the report. But we need to do more because we run risks in just having two sectors performing in the way that they are, particularly now facing a number of global challenges, and which we can all see highlighting that. But more importantly, we're just not moving ahead, I think, as an island at the speed and pace that we should be, and we need to gear up now, and we need to start moving forward in order to ensure that our long-term security, sustainability as a well-run, well-governed, well-financed island is made secure.